Hello, good evening, everyone. So thank you, first of all, joining for the webinar. We want to make it an interactive one where we can address your questions, your queries related to the pathways to enter into Canada and practice as a Canadian dentist. Uh, we will quickly go over the existing pathway and a little bit about the new pathway, which is also coming up. And then we want to open the floor for any questions, any concerns you guys have to address it specifically. Today, we have Dr. Shrey with us, who is our ADET instructor, so who will be taking care of the ADET pathway. We also have Dr. Ashish and Dr. Indrajit with us. So feel free to ask any doubts whatsoever you have. And also, I am here, Dr. Jay, so that we can address any concerns, any questions you have related to any of the step in the pathway. So, as you know, there are two pathways for now, and I have mentioned the gap in between as well, because that is a new pathway which is under research. It may take some years for it to come into existence. Like it will first start into 3 provinces, and then gradually they will study it, and then they will fully fledged launch it. But for now, the pathways which we have is the equivalency or the licensing pathway, which is on the left, or you can go to the dental school here in Canada and become a Canadian licensed dentist. So if you opt for the equivalency process, you have to clear 3 exams: AFK, ACJ, and NDEC. AFK is Assessment of Fundamental Knowledge. ACJ is Clinical Judgment. And then once you're done with these 2 exams, you have to go through NDEC exam, which is in itself is composed of 2 parts: situational judgment and the clinical component, which is a new addition or new update in this process. And once you are done with these 3 exams, you have to write virtual OSCE, which is a part which is common in both routes, whether you go through school or you go through equivalency. Once you are done with it, you can apply for the license in the province in which you want to practice, and you can start your practice in Canada. So this is known as equivalency path, where you challenge the board and you clear these 3 exams and become a licensed dentist. The best part about the equivalency process is that you don't have to have PR in order to start this process. You can start it from whichever country you are currently in, and you can start your journey. And once you are done with AFK and ACJ, then in the last step, you have to have come here in order to do practice. So that is an advantage of an equivalency process, because you can start little early. If you don't want to opt for the equivalency process, or as many people, what they do, they keep both their options open. So you can also opt for the pathway which is directed towards the dental schools. So after giving your ADET exam, you can apply to dental schools, for which Dr. Shrey will guide us in a minute. And once you are done with the dental school, your degree, whether it is DDS or DMD, then you have to write virtual OSCE. And then again, you can apply for the license in the province in which you want to practice, and you can practice here in Canada. The new route, which is GAP, it is still under research, and they mentioned that it may take around 2 to 3 more years for it to be fully functional, and they are going to start their process for the gap, and hopefully it will bring more opportunities for the internationally trained dentist to become a licensed dentist to practice in Canada. So I'm giving it to Dr. Shrey to enlighten us with the school or the university pathway for the ITTs.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jay. Welcome everyone for this webinar. I hope it turns out to be really informative for all of you. And yeah, so for getting into the accredited school, the accredited schools would consist of any school which would be either in Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. So in Canada, we have 7 schools in total who have programs for accepting in the students for an international bridge kind of a program, which can be ranging from 2 years until 3 years. There are a few universities with a 2 years program, one of them with a 2.5 years, and most of them have a 3 years long program. And once you have finished that program, so you again have to give your virtual OSCE, just like Dr. Jay suggested. The only difference between the two pathways is that to get into the school, you need to give your ADAT. That is an exam which is conducted by the American Dental Association. So, and because of that, as both the pathways have a different body conducting it, you need a separate evaluation to be done. So there is an ECE evaluation which requires to be done for that. And we have a webinar which has been posted on YouTube for your review if at all you are interested for giving ADAT, and you can just search ADAT JADE on YouTube and you will be able to find that webinar. So there are 7 schools in total, almost every province except for British Columbia, which is one of a major province, but still, unfortunately, it still doesn't have an internationally trained dental program. But the rest of most of the major provinces have it. And so that is it, Dr. Jay. And please
Perfect.
go to the YouTube channel of Jade. You will be able to find the video for more information, and we are always there to here to help you out.
And in case if you're not able to find it, you can reach out to the team. They will share the link with you, which you can use to listen to the webinar related to the ADAT, where all the information about the process and about the universities, their admission cycle, everything has been beautifully explained by Dr. Shrey. So make sure you, in case if you are looking for that route, you can reach out to the team for that. And that's the main thing. Like these are the main two pathways which we have currently. And we got few questions related to these two pathways from the students who requested the webinar. Um, so one of the question was related to our ADAT program again, and I believe I will circle back to you, Dr. Shrey, for this. The question
Yeah.
is that our program, which is starting for ADAT, is going to end in the month of June. So would a student who is taking this exam would be able to apply to specifically University of Toronto or not? So
That's a
that
very
is
good
one of the
question.
question we received in the web form.
Okay, that's a very good question. And the best thing about our courses is that it has been designed around the process that you can apply for all the universities, including the University of Toronto. And the deadline for University of Toronto is the 2nd of July. So if you have appeared for the ADAT exam anytime before the 2nd of July, you can apply for University of Toronto as well. So our course ends in the first week of June. So you still have 1 month's time to give your exam, to go through all the notes and all the materials which we have discussed all throughout the course, uh, and be ready for the exam just before 2nd of July, which would be the deadline.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Another question we got is what is the difference between ADET and NDEB and sequence of when to give which one? So, NDEB basically conducts this equivalency pathway. So, in case if you are interested in going for the equivalency path, you have to create a profile with NDEB. As per their website, currently it is taking 10 weeks for the approval, but this timeline keeps on changing depending on the number of applicants, depending on how much burden they have. So it may range from 10 weeks to sometimes even 16 weeks or more. So the best is to always keep checking because they provide you that timeline on their website. So if it takes 10 weeks, once your profile is approved, then you have to wait for the registration for the AFK, and they will open the seats on a one particular day where you have to log in into your profile and you have to book the exam. So generally the exam booking starts after the course for the AFK for that particular cycle has started. So they conduct AFK twice in a year. One is in Feb, and the another one will be in the month of August. So you have to pre-plan that if you plan to go for the equivalency pathway, then once you apply for your documents, you have to start for your preparation because they will take 10 weeks for the approval. And if it comes before the registration date, there are high chances that you might get the seat because they conduct the AFK exam in two ways. That is your written exam, like you have to go to the center, they will give you the MCQ question paper and you have to mark your answers, or Prometric, which has increased their number of seats for the AFK. So still, there is a challenge to get the seat, but it is better than before. So there are high chances you might get the seat. So it's best to start your preparation as soon as you apply for NDB profile. And once it is approved, once you're able to get the seat, by that time, half of the course will be over and you will be targeting, like, for example, if you're planning now, you will be targeting August 2025 cycle because Feb, again, the course and the registration is already done. So that is how you start the process. Once you're done with AFK, you immediately start for ACJ. And some students, in fact, most of the students these days, what they do, they try to balance out in a manner that they go for both the routes. You cannot decide that I do not want to go for one route. I have to go for only the university or the equivalency because both the path have their own challenges. And in the end, whichever works best for you, you should opt for that. Like I've seen people who have cleared AFK, ACJ, and if they get into university, they take it because in the end, at least they will get the degree and they don't have to go through NDEC exam. So it all depends what is in your destiny, what is, lying ahead. So you should keep both the options open and try simultaneously. It's difficult to do two courses together to target AFK and ADAT. So go one by one, but yes, keep both the options open. Perfect. Another question we got is how can I start my preparation for AFK? So as I discussed, like as soon as you're done with the submitting the documents for the profile, you should start with the course because our AFK course is divided into three phases, where phase one starts with the pre-recorded session, and you get the opportunity that you can watch those videos as per your convenience. Once that is over, we start with the live session so that you can meet the instructor, you can ask your doubts. If you're not able to watch those live sessions, you can always get the recording for that. And then comes the phase three, which is your subject-wise test followed by the mock exams. So when you apply for the profile, you start the course, you get the material, you get the videos, and even if you're working, you can, start watching those sessions so that at least you are getting the idea what exactly is AFK, because it is a challenging exam. And in the last 3 months, you need to be 100% dedicated towards it, because it is a competitive exam where the passing percentage is, hovering around 40%. So you need to give it all in order to clear. And you just get three chances in AFK and ACJ, and you have to make it count. So that is how you can start your journey with AFK. Um, One more question was related to that only, that is it doable to do it with the full-time job? So the idea is that when you start the course, you can be full-time working, but when you are reaching towards your exam 2 to 3 months prior to it, it's always best to uh, give as much time as you can to your studies, especially for AFK, ACJ, and NDEC process. And that is the reason why, the financial institutions here, they came up with the line of credit, so that, you can leave everything and just focus on these exams, because they are competitive. You need all your efforts towards the exam. When it comes to ADAT, the beauty of this exam is that you can give it multiple times, and but you have to still prepare hard, and you get a window that, okay, between these months you can give it. So you can always improvise your score in ADAT if you're applying for the schools. But to keep both the options open, it's best that you can work in the beginning of the course, because AFK, for example, is 8 months program. So you can start working, you can work for first, I would say, 4 to 5 months. Then when you get your test series started, like phase 3 or end of phase 2, you should consider doing full-time studies, and you should be able to cover the notes or the booklets which you are going to get for AFK. At least you should be able to review them twice or thrice before you enter into the examination hall. So it depends whether you can do it with full-time job or not. But yes, if someone can manage it, why not? Could you please clarify these queries? Okay. Number one, will I get material if I enroll in your ADAT course? Yes, Dr. Radha, you will get a booklet for ADAT course. Apart from that, if you're going for the ADAT comprehensive course, you will also get the pre-recorded lectures, which covers the most of the content related to the ADAT exam. Do you offer flexible payment plan for this course? Yes, we do. However, the only thing is, for AFK, ADAT, ACJ, or even situational judgment, which is part of NDEC, we offer flexible payment plan. But if you are starting a course, let's say in the month of December, and you're sitting in December, then that flexible payment plan might be over already. Okay, so if you're planning for future, you keep checking the website. When the registration opens, you generally get a flexible payment plan for up to 4 months. Okay, or eight bi-weekly payments, six bi-weekly payments. So that is how the flexible payment plan works. We do not charge any interest. There might be an admin fees associated with these payment plan. So depending on which cycle you are planning to join, it may vary. Okay. How long will I have the access to the JADE materials? For ADAT comprehensive program, it is 1 year. Correct me, Dr. Shrey, if I'm wrong. It's 1 year, right?
Yeah, we get an access for 1 year.
1 year. Wonderful. So that basically covers two courses, because generally we have one cycle which ends in Feb and the second cycle which ends in June. So you will be able to have access for 1 year or two cycles. What is the next course of action or in JADE if I don't clear my ADAT at first attempt? ADAT. I don't think so. You cannot clear it at. You will get a score, right?
Yes. So
Perfect.
yeah,
I'm asking the expert. Okay,
yeah,
if you
yeah.
have any question for AFK, ACJ, I can, or index, I can guide you. And we also have Dr. Indrajit and Dr. Ashish for it. But for ADAT, he's the boss. So if he says that we are getting scores, so we are getting scores. So it is not that you won't be able to clear ADAT, but yes, your score might be good, might be low. So you can always email Dr. Shrey. uh, he's amazing in that. He will respond, he will reply back to you that, okay, this code looks great. So you can go ahead and apply, or this code doesn't look that amazing. Why don't you give another shot? So you can always reattempt ADAT. And if your 1 year is over, then you have to re-register. And the best part is in re-registration, you get a heavy discount. Okay, so then again, your 1 year will be revised, so it will become like one more year. So that we will talk about it once you will reach that stage. Okay, so I hope I have addressed all your questions, Dr. Radha. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask in the chat or verbally, whatever works for you. One last question. Do I still have to get ECE done as I have WES currently?
Yeah, you need ECE done irrespective of whether VES has been done. And for ECE, again, on the webinar, I mentioned what category you have to select. You don't have to select it for Canadian schools. You have to select the US institutions because you have to give an exam which is conducted by ADA. So all that is given out really beautifully on the webinar. Every step of how you registered for the ADAT exam has been given out in a very nice manner in the webinar. Please go through that.
And I'm stealing his information, what he has shared in the webinar. So I'm just sharing it, those two slides. So you have to create a dent pin, and this is the ECE evaluation. So he said that you don't have to start the Canadian assessment report, you have to start the US. That is what he was trying to mention. So yes, you have to get your ECE evaluation.
Exactly.
Got it, doctor. Thanks a lot. Perfect. Dr. Neerav has asked, when will be the next ADAT cycle of JADE courses? Uh,
Um, this cycle ends in June, so we usually start in July with the. So July to Feb is the first cycle, and the second cycle is starting from December until June.
Wonderful. So July to Feb and December to June. So there will be some overlap.
Yeah.
Basically, the overlap is that right now, people who started in July, they are giving their mock exams, right?
Yeah, they are still in their final sectional tests still
Test.
remaining. Yeah.
Perfect. And they will be giving their mocks by
January.
January and Feb.
Yeah.
And people who are joining in December, they are going to start with the pre-recorded,
Yeah.
and
In Feb.
later on their test will start, followed by the mock
Yeah.
exams.
Yes.
Dr. Shrey, which GPA is considered as a good GPA to apply for DDS in Canada dental schools? Is anything above 3.5 is considered good?
Yeah, it should be considered good. Baseline requirement for most universities is 3 as a GPA. So, but if you are about 3.5 or 3.5, it is considered as a good GPA.
Wonderful. Perfect. Any other question, Dr. Radha or Dr. Nirav? Dr. Jay, as AFK is an extensive exam, would you suggest taking AFK course first and give AFK and then ADA? Great question. It all depends on the timeline in which you are starting. Like, for example, if we talk about December, both the courses are going to start now, the phase one of AFK and the pre-recorded part of ADAT. Okay, so if your target is that you really want to go for the university, go for ADAT at this point. And in ADAT, June, the course is going to end. Give your ADAT, apply to University of Toronto or all the universities. And if you are ready to invest for learning, start your AFK at that time, right after giving the ADAT and applying to the schools for the Feb 2026 cycle. The reason is because that way you are not wasting time for waiting and applying and seeing whether the university has accepted your profile or not, whether you have cleared the interview, because all that is happening. Sometimes it may take months. Like U of T is quick because if you're applying in July, they will give you the results that, okay, you are selected for the interview in the month of October, and then you will have your interviews in Jan 2026. You will be starting with them. So maybe your AFK, whatever preparation you started, might not be very useful because you may get into university. But I would say, depending on your timeline and goal, you have to pick. If your goal is to get a license, then yes, you should start with AFK first. And then what people generally do, they give the AFK. Let's say for August 2025, you are going to give the AFK exam. After that, they start preparing for ACJ and ADAT simultaneously. And they try to target the July cycle, which Dr. Shrey just mentioned. Feb 2026, their ADAT course is going to be over. May 2026, they're targeting ACJ together. So they're going to give the ADAT in the month of March. May they are going to go for ACJ. So this is the plan for someone who starts AFK first. Okay. What if I don't have 3 GPA? Will that make me ineligible?
As three is a requirement for most schools, yes, all those universities who have specifically mentioned that you require a minimum GPA of three, you won't be eligible. You can still apply, but probably you will not get an invite. The best is to have a GPA, and usually they consider the last GPA. Again, it depends on universities. Some consider the undergrad GPA if you have a postgraduate degree. Some universities would consider that as a last education and check your GPA accordingly. So it depends on different universities. The best would be to go through to their website and check. Whosoever has given the requirement as 3 GPA minimum, then you will unfortunately not be eligible.
Okay. Suppose if we want to plan and apply and give ADAT and be ready for the ADAT by March 2026. March 2026. Okay. Then when should I give AFK? Then you can target August 2025 AFK. Okay. And then you have to prepare for ADAT. When will be the next AFK course of JADE? So for August 2025, they will start in December with the phase one pre-recorded. And the registrations are almost, I believe, happening right now. And uh, pre-recorded phase will begin, followed by the live lectures, which will start in the month of Feb. And then the test will begin in the month of May. Then you will be ready for the August 2025. And then after that, you can start preparation for the ADET exam. And by the time you're preparing for ADET exam, your results for AFK would be announced. Okay. Undergrad GPA 3.7, postgrad 3.4. So this one seems good. Is working a dental assistant helpful to while we apply for DDS? Do you recommend working as DA? So GPA 3.7 and 3.4,
Is
that is
good. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Working as a dental assistant, would it be helpful for the application to for DDS?
It is not going to damage your application, neither is it going to help or push your application or your CV. Some of the universities don't even ask for your CV while you are applying. It's only the scores and your GPAs, especially University of Toronto, University of Alberta. These are the two who don't ask for a CV at all. So whatever you do, they won't even come to know. And for the other universities, they ask for for a CV. But as far as I've heard from my sources, University of Saskatchewan is one who does consider somewhat. But again, unless you are a part of the admission committee, you cannot be sure about that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it will definitely help you because you will be staying in touch with dentistry. And as he said, that some university they do give preference, but most of them they look at the overall candidature. So that also includes your work experience in Canada. So there is nothing wrong in working as a dental assistant. In fact, if you get into that, at least you will have a somewhat stable job. Perfect. Any other questions, Dr. Neerav or Dr. Radha? That's all from my end. Okay. If you want to get into DDA, yes, the major factor is GPA and ADAT score. Yes, but at the same time, your interview, some universities they do have bench exam, some universities have their test.
Yeah. The
So
English scores
it,
as well.
sorry?
The English scores as well.
English score, language score. So that is also one thing which is important. Plus, they have their own um, ways. Okay, like for example, University of Toronto give too much weightage for GPA, and whatever GPA you are mentioning here, 3.7, 3.4, that it will be very different from their GPA because they have their own way to devise to calculate a GPA. Okay, so it's something which is which you cannot control. Okay, yes, you should not have any supply in your masters or your bachelors for University of Toronto. Okay, but as far as GPA is concerned, that is something which you cannot change. So I feel you should go ahead and apply for it. And University of Toronto have a very different calculation, and other universities minimum requirement is three. And but yes, if you have over three, it doesn't matter after that. Okay, then your ADAT score, your English score, and your test. Like Alberta has a full-fledged test, which they judge, and it's a 3-day test. So you will be evaluated based on that. Okay. For BDS, I have near 3 GPA, but for MDS, it's 4. Uh,
So it just depends on the university. Some would check
yeah,
the undergrad, and some check it as the last
last school.
education.
Yes, yes. Any idea about Dalhousie University? Do you
No,
have any idea?
no, I'm not sure about which one would they check. They all look into GPS, but which one do they consider primarily? I'm not sure. University of Toronto checks the undergrad, and University of Alberta checks the last education. That is what I know, but I don't know about the others.
And it's very, honestly, it's very difficult because as far
Yeah,
as I know, when Dr. Neeti applied to University of Toronto, it was the masters.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they keep on changing it. So
Keep
you
on changing.
won't be able to be 100% sure. And if you really want to apply, you should give it a chance. That is one thing. You should not have that regret later on. Oh, I should have applied. So it's always good to give yourself a chance. Perfect.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Any other thing, Dr. Shrev, you would like to add?
No, I just feel that the earlier you start, the earlier you can reach your goal, irrespective of whatever pathway you choose. Just jump into it as early as you can rather than keeping trying to weigh your options. Just jump into it if you want to pursue dentistry. The earlier you jump, the better it is.
Wonderful. Perfect. Dr. Ashish, Dr. Indrajit, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, hi, Dr. Jay. Hello, everybody. So, you and Dr. Shrey, you have already mentioned everything so clearly, and everything has been explained so beautifully here. And as Dr. Shrey said, earlier, you start, it's better it is. And like whatever process you choose, whether it's kind of license or going to university, nothing is easy. It's more of making your mind and staying positive throughout the process. And we as a team, we are always here to help you out. And whatever we can do, we will be there to help you out in that process to make it as smooth ride as possible, right?
Wonderful.
Very
Yes.
true.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ashish. Yes. I think someone was saying something. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. Perfect. So we do not have any questions now left, and we hope this is helpful. And feel free to reach out to the team in case if you have any other questions or you would like to know anything more about the courses we offer or the process. And whatever help we can do, we will be there to guide you further. This is the email address for the team. You can reach out directly to them. And if you want to watch the ADET webinar again, you can either search it on YouTube channel, or you can just reach out to the team and they will share the link with you. Perfect. Thank you everyone for your time. I hope this is helpful. Take care, stay safe, stay blessed, and feel free to reach out to the team. Okay. Bye now. Good night, everyone. Thank you.